the technology is the biggest thing that has hit agriculture. I can remember when I was a kid, we used to pasture cows. I mean, we still do use our pastures, but the intensiveness is greater. The volume of traffic, we'd drive cows up the road and just think nothing of it because there wasn't any traffic. So much, I wouldn't even think about doing that today. The volume of traffic has greatly improved. And something I kind of remember when I was a kid, I thought, hey, a tractor and trailer went by. And I thought, well, that's really something. Now seems like a dozen go by in an hour's time, and you got to wonder, where are they all going? I would say today the size and scale of the equipment is so greatly improved. The things you see today on farms, and I guess I'm old enough to see that when I graduated from high school, I thought I used to go to the farm show and see huge tractors, huge combines, and I thought, never in Prairie County. Well, I've lived to see that the size and scale is tremendous. Well, our history, farm has quite a history. When I was in school, I'd come home and get a bite to eat. You know, you come home, you're a little hungry, and you get a bite to eat. And you went to the barn. There was always, you either had to help milk, or you had to feed some animals, or mow the lawn. And I can remember going and playing football on a Saturday afternoon, and Sunday or Saturday evening when we come home from the football game, we had to go to work. I can remember my mother telling me she actually grew up basically over the hill from our farm and having a power plant in their basement of their house for electricity. I'm not quite sure what powered it, but it was in the basement of the house that generated electricity somehow. We have actually quite an old barn that was built in 1833. And I always make the comment, a lot of the timbers in that barn probably were trees that were grown when George Washington was crossing the Delaware. So, because they're big timbers. And that barn is of German architecture, and that barn is solid as a rock today. And you gotta marvel at the engineering that was into it, and the size of our scale. How did they get, it's a stone barn, how did they get all that done? And you know, there's no cranes, or it was all done with you know, older technology. But it's quite amazing how it still stood the test of time. The only sad part in today's agriculture, those barns are antiquated in today's technology, and how we handle dairy cows, beef cows. You know, they've seen their time. I mean, they're beautiful to look at, but they've outdated themselves. They had thrashing where they thrash grain, and they'd have big granaries that they would store the grain in. And in today's, what we use today and the volume of grain we get today, it's no comparison what we grow today versus then. It's a great, you know, they would grow maybe 10 bushels of wheat or something like that, and that's like not even a fourth of an acre today. The technology has improved the yield, and genetics has just you know, back in the 50s, one farmer would feed 15 people, and if you go through time, maybe 30, 40 years ago, one farmer would feed maybe 70 people. When my dad started farming, I'm thinking the corn crop was about 50 bushels to the acre. A cow would have probably produced maybe 8,000 pounds of milk. When I graduated high school, kind of as a timeline, cow would probably, on an average, give around 16,000 pounds of milk. The only sad part in today's agriculture, those barns are antiquated in today's technology and how we handle dairy cows, beef cows. They've seen their time. I mean, they're beautiful to look at, but they've outdated themselves.